record. All right. Well, hey, thanks for hopping on and wanting to look into maintaining the VS Code extension project. We're on the APAC friendly call, and we're gonna pick up whatever those other folk were doing earlier in the American European friendly time zone. And it looks like there's an issue with the draft MR already in flight. And so I think we can approach this by like reading the manual and then going for it, or we can just pick it up and go. And I'm kind of leaning towards the latter. And then we'll just see what things jump out at us. So like, oh yeah, we can talk or dive into certain things and leave it at that. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's check out the issue to get some context. So 2 refactorings to make the snowplow telemetry. So I think it looks like ISRA discussion is separate MR. So let's see the bit of code that was in question. Okay. So we moved something from, and we'll talk about this, but we moved something from common specifically to desktop. And it looks like I'm saying if we moved a function over, then we can keep the set of telemetry in common and only move the web ID specific stuff over. So it looks like there's a little bit of, so this is about encapsulating something that has a web ID specific setup and a browser specific setup. And I think we could do a little bit better at encapsulating what's common here. So let's dive into it. So let me open up the project, not my desktop. GitLab VSCode extension. Okay, we're here. All right, let me go to main and get the latest. Let me close things. Okay. All right, so as long as I have, I think this uses tool versions. Yeah, if I've got ASDF, should be everything I need. I should just have to run yarn to No, it's not yarn.
Yeah. Yeah.
First thing, I know. Jeez Louise. Yeah, every once in a while I'll do this. I'm like, wait, why is the yarn log so large? I'm like, oh no, because it's not a yarn project. All right. I should just have to run npm install. There we go.
Yeah.
And it's gonna do its thing. And that's great. And we're pretty good to go. I ran this. Oh, and that's interesting. Running npm install seemed to have.
Oh yeah, I actually noticed this because I did the same thing when I checked the project out. It found a subfolder that had a yarn lock and then ran it there.
I see that. This is an auto do not, this is yarn lock v1. Is it updating it to yarn 2 actually though? Like why is it changing it, you know?
Yeah, that's strange. Maybe it's just reordering it.
I see some like it's like quoting things, you know. I see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, weird.
What do you want to do here? Do we want to just create an MR to actually commit this change? Because if you ran into this yourself, maybe this should be the default.
Maybe, yeah.
I'll go ahead and move that to a separate
understand
branch.
why. Yeah, it seems weird to me that it would reformat it like that. Like, I don't know, is it missing like a yarn inside like version inside tool versions or something like that?
Yeah, it looks like Marshall's the last one to touch it. But I'm gonna ping the other contributors on it and see if they're noticing the same thing, and then just say, here's an MR to fix it, and we can just merge it if we gotta do that.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm on a separate branch. So we use conventional commits. So this would be a chore.
Cool.
Fix default format of view to yarn lock. This was automatically changing upon npm install. Okay, cool. I'm gonna push that up. So then we'll ignore. I'll go ahead and create a merge request and assign myself to it so I don't forget. Yeah, I'll just leave it like that. Yep. I'll fill in details later. Okay. So already though we have touched. So one, this uses npm. We stumbled upon that one. Uses conventional commits. And then we stumble upon this abstraction of web views. Are you familiar with this at all in the VS Code world?
No, I haven't encountered that before.
So this is let's actually start up the extension. I'll show you the web view parts. So starting up the extension from VS Code is super simple, and there's a run target, run extension, and I can set debuggers all here in VS Code, and it'll debug nicely and everything. So it starts up the whole thing. It's really sweet. So this is a nice editing, debugging environment. So it starts up another VS Code, turns off all other extensions except for the GitLab VS Code extension. I can open specific workspaces if I need to, and I can try, like, this whole environment is the debug environment. So it still works if I'm using it just like regular VS Code. One issue that I have run into is, like, I kind of use GitLab UI as like my test project, but if I have GitLab UI open on the norm, like just if I already had it open, it won't let me reopen it in this window. So yeah, that's a little silly thing. But the web views is like, if I click on one of these things and now I see this like issue list description. So this is a view app. So VS Code supports running these like iframes, which have, use probably the message API to communicate in and out of the VS Code environment and stuff. But our web views are going to be like, we have our issuable web view, and we have our duo chat and things like that. So these are the front end parts for those things. I'm not sure what view 2 is, so I'm sure there's some history around that. Yeah. But yeah, starting the project is super simple using the run debug. Have you done that before yet already?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
The language server project has a similar thing as well. But yeah, I tried it in the VS Code extension repo.
Cool. Nice. So then how familiar are you with the split between like browser and desktop in common?
Sort of familiar. Like, yeah, I guess I've seen it, and it's kind of self-explanatory that, yeah, there's going to be like some platform-specific code. I haven't really like dug into it, so I have some like questions in my head, like, does that mean you can use node only dependencies in the node, like, yeah, in like the desktop folder and things like that? And how does that work in the package JSON and stuff? So yeah,
that's
I guess like some questions, how it all gets like built together and bundled and stuff, I'm not super clear on.
Right. So I think these are the entry points. And I think let me go back. So the way VS Code works is you provide it. Here you can see that we have our package JSON, but then we have desktop.package.json and browser.package.json. Yeah. So VS Code extensions need that root metadata file. And it looks for this key which is gonna, I believe, look for the name of the entry point file. And so desktop, I think, is going to say the main one is this extension file. And browser saying the main was this browser file. You must have some other kind of build steps, which are actually kind of shuffling these things around. But within that file, it looks for these exported functions. Like VS Code is looking for activate, and that's going to give you this
Yep.
extension context. And so desktop is going to provide its entry point, which I guess is extension. And I mean, some of this stuff is super old. Yeah. Are you familiar with the history of the project?
No, not really.
Um,
Oh, like I know that it was it originally developed by Fatih, and then
Fatih,
he,
yeah. And it
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, and then it was completely Fatih's on GitLab.
right, yeah,
It was this, I guess, associated with GitLab through clearly the name and Fatih. But then when
yeah,
Fatih left, and we were like realizing, which is something we've been saying for a long time, is like, hey, we should really support this thing Fatih's doing.
yeah,
Took a little bit of time for us to maybe put the official seal on that, but then yeah, he graciously gifted it to it. And it wasn't in TypeScript then either.
nice,
Like it was all in JavaScript. And so
right, yeah,
some of these some of these abstractions are that old. But I think Tomas has done a really good job at wrangling it, because there are some really
yeah,
difficult requirements it has to handle, which we might bump into. But yeah, these are the two entry points. And I think you can see if we look at like the common things it imports. Um, so these are just like, I guess, some common utilities. I'm really looking for the like platform thing. What am I looking for? Okay. Um, yeah, I guess the different yeah. So this is like the specific I see. Um, I'm not presenting that I know what I'm talking about really well. Uh,
that's all right.
this
All
is
good.
the platform specific desktop that implements the common interface. So it's like platform contains things for like, how do we fetch from the API? So getting into the node specifics versus
Yeah,
what can work in the browser, that's a big deal. I don't really know if we have control of like what's preventing me from like doing. I don't know if we have anything that's like preventing me from doing, I don't know, like import, stars
like blob
FS from
or something.
FS. I don't know if
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have that. So that might be a kind of a thing we have to keep an eye out on, you know.
Hmm. I
But
mean,
then again, I
probably
actually don't.
the check for that would be like integration tests that if they run in a browser environment and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and we the browser is only consumed by the web ID. And so we do have,
Mm,
end-to-end tests for the web ID. Like nothing's gonna get published unless you actually get the
yep.
happy path. So that's kind of there. It'd be nice to get all of that information ahead of time.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
um
Shifting it left.
yes, that would be the ideal.
Yeah.
Um okay. So let's maybe maybe we can start diving into what's changed in the issue.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, where am I at? I'm wanting to go to here, and here's the draft demo. Um, so let's check out this branch. See what has changed. Oh, I still have the other. This happens to me, even though I killed it, it still isn't totally dead. So I don't know if it's safe for me to just force kill it, but that's what I do. Okay. All right. So we've checked that out, and let's see some of the changes here. So in the browser specific land, what are we adding here? Let me look at when we do this browser setup telemetry browser. I'm not getting a clear feeling on the bit we actually are wanting to encapsulate. Okay. Looks like we're working on things here. The browser is clearly very thin. All right, so this thing has setup telemetry. Ah, yes. And then we have activate common. Does activate common do anything with? No, it does not. Okay, I see. So this has its own setup telemetry here in browser, the browser entry point. And then I'm guessing that desktop extension, the desktop entry point, has its own setup telemetry. Yes.
Mm.
And so if I jump into that, yes. So yeah, it's like you can see that these two files are like really close to the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, in fact, these are the same. This is common. This is common. Yeah, these are common. So it's like, okay, whatever the difference is, that's what we want to reconcile. Um, so let's see. We're getting an instance. I almost want to compare it. How do you feel about just comparing?
Yeah. Yep. Like doing a diff.
Yeah, I could do it. This compare. There's a thing, right? Where I can say, oh, select
Yeah,
for
select for
compare. And then I can compare with select.
interesting.
All right. Okay. So, yes, I see. All right, and I realize I just checked out their branch. So we're seeing some of their changes. For us to get a feel of the original problem, how do you feel about undoing checking their branch and looking at it on me?
Yep.
Okay, let's do that. Uh oh, look, it updated my diff. Awesome.
Nice.
Sweet. Okay. So yeah, it looks like we have this like enabled callback that we pass into snowplow.get instance. And that's the only thing that's different. Um, in the desktop environment, no, this is, wait, is this browser environment? No. Oh, um, how come I'm having a hard time seeing which one I'm at? Do you see it? This like is saying setup telemetry browser.
Yeah. It's
I'm gonna ignore that, but I see up here it's telling me desktop on the left and browser on the right.
mm,
These file tabs are also really confusing me. I see browser over here.
yeah.
I'm gonna close others. Uh okay.
Yeah. Nice.
So I have a feeling that what we want to have is set up telemetry, taken a platform. So let's set up the abstract part. Like I almost want to set up common setup telemetry right now. You know what I mean?
Mm, mm,
Um, let's see if they had already started doing that over here. No. No, there's just an interface that is telemetry enabled. Yes. Okay.
yeah.
So yeah. Let's see what commons. There's an activate common. Yeah. Where does it kind of put its other little parts? Activate chat is kind of inside of chat. Initialize feature flag context is inside of feature flags. So I kind of think maybe setup telemetry belongs in Snowplow.
Hmm.
Let's do that. Setup telemetry. Okay. All right, and what I'm thinking of doing is,
Just
go ahead.
just before you
Yep.
do this change, do you want to do it on the relative to the main branch,
Oh,
or
gee,
is this,
yes. Okay.
or should we switch back?
Good. Good idea. This is why we pair. All right, I saved it and it's saying no local changes to save because it's a new file. So I need to
Hmm.
add it, then stash it.
Well, you could probably just switch branch, and then it would
Oh,
still
yes, of
be there.
course I could
Yeah.
just do that. Yes, of course, of course. All right, but this is the one I think we're using, this 1025. That's not a command. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Uh, all right, looks like I can import snowplow just from here. That's great. Oh yes, I'm already so happy. Oh yes, 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 yes. Okay. But then all we want to do is just have a we want this thing to receive the platform. So going back to the main here that activates, this thing takes some sort of platform manager. And it looks like it passes it to
Hmm.
other kind of activating things. So I'm assuming that's kind of the thing we need. I'm going to start out like that and we'll see how friendly it is. I'm curious where we put this thing. This is from GitLab platform base. GitLab platform for active project. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Ah, yes. So here's the really interesting thing when it comes to some of the way this is an abstraction that's unfortunately kind of like spread throughout the code base and in weird ways. And there might be more we can do to wrangle it, but right now you can see it's kind of touching some root interfaces, which is a user can have multiple accounts, GitLab accounts associated with the extension,
Hmm.
and they can have
Right. Yeah.
open multiple projects. So that clearly is a breeding ground for all sorts of complex scenarios.
Hmm.
And so I think a lot of when we make decisions, we're looking for like
Oh, yeah, I'm
GitLab.
just looking at that doc, JS doc, about how we decide what an active project is.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
So I think we'll want to look at this from okay. All right. But here's where I'm at though. Telemetry isn't project specific.
Hmm.
It's environment specific.
Is it possible for a user to switch off telemetry on a GitLab instance for themselves, or like for a project?
I think it would be so I'm not sure about at that level of an requirement, but I know like
Hmm.
here, this is a global VS Code thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the desktop, it's a global VS Code thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then for the web ID, this is a like global web ID extension thing. Like we're getting from the web ID a very
Hmm.
specific setting that single extension is exporting. So I don't know if we want to put it. I don't know if we want to put it in here. I kind of wonder if we want to put it in here. But then I kind of hate that we're getting really close to creating this God class.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So here's a crazy idea. what if we have a new interface for GitLab telemetry platform, and it just has a browser implementation and a desktop implementation?
Yep. Yep.
So we don't have to have a God platform.
Yeah. So so that would be pulling the is telemetry enabled out of the platform base where it's just been added to.
Yeah, it's kind of starting to get into the island where rather than having just one glorious context object we're going to try to pass around everywhere, we need to think, how are we going to pass around various interfaces to kind of keep
Yep.
encapsulation? It's probably best to lean towards that if we can, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm not totally married to the idea, and I'd love to hear what other people think, but I'm up for just trying it out, and maybe others don't like it. So
Hmm.
what do you think?
Well, yeah, I guess my thought is that I mean I'm quite unfamiliar with this code base, but the at the moment at least like the platform class doesn't seem too big to me.
That's
But
true. That's true.
I mean I haven't worked in it, so I don't know if that's like a general feeling that we have, or like
Yeah.
is it already causing problems that we're stuffing like too many things into that?
Well,
Um,
yeah, that's a good point. I
yeah.
see though here in platform base, it looks like, I don't know. It looks like this is how we're implementing some things. So I guess that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll just lean into it. I was just like, why do I have to?
Yeah, it's you're right though. It's not really related to the platform
Yeah, because
necessarily. So
here's the
yeah.
thing. This is related to the VS Code user, you know? So I may not have a GitLab account set up. How do we know not to send telemetry for that person?
Mm.
Because right now that's kind of how it's set up. Is like, this is based on if I'm signed into multiple accounts or a single account. Like, in order for me to get to this value, the user will have to have an account set up or an active project. But the extension is still valid and usable. It has a state without any of those set up.
Mm. Right now
Um,
we probably or yeah. What do the telemetry events look like? Are we sending them only for like code suggestions, or is it for everything? Because I guess it maybe comes into it. You can only
that's true.
run
That's a good
code
point.
suggestions if you have an account.
That's a good point. Let's see if I can check out references. Uh,
But yeah, like I don't know. I think you're still right. Like in future, even if we don't, even if we are only sending a few telemetry events now, we probably want to expand it to other stuff
right, right.
without being tied to the account requirement.
Yeah, yeah. I really don't know how this thing totally gets used. Um, let's see if we can find reference. I mean, it looks like it's in a number of places, maybe. Oh, is it just an emitter for some events? Tracker core. What is tracker core? Ah, it's from the snowplow. Man, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Thankfully, this isn't a project that you have to know everything. So I am going to I know it's your call. We can at the end of the day, we'll figure out what we want to do after pushing up code. But do we want to create a new interface for this, or do we want to tie it to the account / project platform?
I'd be kind of interested to create a new interface just to see what that looks like. Because
Okay.
I'm also kind of new to TypeScript, so everything like this is
Yeah.
like
Let's do it.
switching on light bulbs for me. So yeah.
I'm sorry, Enrique and crew. We're completing the MR by doing it differently.
The other thing in the back of my mind is like there's a recording of that previous session which I haven't watched.
This is true,
So
and they
maybe
might
there's
have
something
already had this
important.
discussion. I know.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that it'll be faster for me to just, move forward and break whatever, and then get the feedback of like, no, this is what we decided we wouldn't do. And the call, if you watch the recording, be like, oh, I must have skipped that part.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking of calling this, and I guess maybe I can't call it platform, but I was thinking I can call it we can call it telemetry environment if we want to.
Mhm.
Um, is telemetry enabled? That's the one.
Yeah.
I see some other interfaces here, so maybe I can put it in its own thing. That
Mm.
is generally we try to do that, I think. So
Yep.
I think I may go ahead and lean towards that. I definitely in general do lean towards trying not to group it too much.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, so that has its own thing now. And then to stay that we're not breaking anything, I'll keep this, but I'm going to ask to do we're thinking we don't want to go this way because telemetry is based on VS Code user, not GL GitLab account or GitLab project. What do you think? Yeah, I'll go ahead and go
Mhm.
this way. So, all right, going back then to our cool setup telemetry that I deleted because I haven't repopped it, which is back now. That's
Mhm.
great. We're going to get telemetry environment. Okay. So cool thing I like to do when I import just types from TypeScript is I like to say I'm just importing a type.
Mm. Yep.
For transparency and just a number of other reasons.
Yep. It's always
But
good to
now,
be more explicit.
yeah, now I can just pass and it's telemetry enabled, and that's good to go. Hey, I'll be down in 10 minutes, okay? Okay. Oh, well, you'll really enjoy breakfast then. Okay, we got some water. All right. All right. Cool. So we are no longer desktop or web ID specific here. That's brilliant. So I think then we can take our I think we can then move this to our main active common. Okay, yeah, where we get the one glorious manager.
Mhm.
And we're gonna do it. We're gonna have telemetry environment.
Yes.
That's where I guess it trickles down. But the other idea is
Well,
like
what else? What else is in context? Oh, is that VS Code? That's VS Code specific, isn't it?
Yes. Context is what we get from the activate entry point. And so this contains like extension ID, all loads and loads and loads of stuff. The VS Code extension API is very well documented too. So I highly recommend if we're curious about anything, just looking at the VS Code API, and then I'll just look up like what is extension context, and it's all there. So it's and that they have really
Nice.
good descriptions of like when and where and how things are useful. I kind of think GitLab Platform Manager. Jeez, I almost like really want to I really want to say Git telemetry environment. Is that so bad? What do you think?
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah, let's see what let's
Yeah.
see how it feels this way. What do you think? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm back here into our common. So what's cool is then I'll be able to at the very top set up telemetry from here and do manager.get telemetry environment. That seems nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I want to go to what calls this thing. And while I'm doing that, I realize I'm about to die over here. Oh man, I'm sure Enrique is gonna just laugh. I feel a little bad. I don't feel bad, but I don't know. I realize it's a little weird. So let me go to here. Okay, we get our platform manager. Cool. We create the GitLab platform manager base. Great. Nice. So what's neat is that, oh, I can just move this over to here. So that's kind of all stays the same. That's kind of cool, right? But I'm thinking maybe we do this in a separate file. We have browser telemetry environment. You know?
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. Since the
implement
interface is in a separate file.
Yep. Implements GitLab telemetry environment. Probably should have called this GitLab browser telemetry environment. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Okay. I'm actually going to copy this bit. Okay. So it looks like we are using so VS Code extensions have access to this VS Code utility.
Yeah, I've noticed that import.
That comes from this import here. And there is no this is only provided through type definitions because it's imported at runtime.
Right.
VS Code will inject it in the sandbox that runs. So it creates a little bit of a testing challenge because when we want to use some of these VS Code utilities, we end up having to mock them. There's a MR open to like use a third-party library that provides a whole bunch of sensible mocks for these things. I just don't think we've
that's nice.
Adopted it yet.
But
this is how we end up getting the web ID extension. And we're referencing it by the web ID extension ID and looking to see based on if all that exists, it has it exported this function, and that's what we'll end up returning. So that's cool. I think, this is my least favorite. It's my least favorite, one of my least favorite ESLint rules. One of these days, I'm going to get rid of it. The class methods have to use this. It's like, no, I don't know if that's necessarily how it has to work. But I am thinking of taking this bit and putting it in the constructor because we don't need to do it every time, you know? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. That shouldn't change.
So almost 90% of the time, 90% of the time, I am always using read-only class properties. So I don't really have a lot of classes that mutate state. And we use the ES6 private hash private thing instead of using the TypeScript private thing, because I guess it has some benefits.
I feel like I've seen the TypeScript private being used somewhere, maybe in the language server.
I was using the TypeScript private all the time, and then we just kind of like, okay, we're gonna pick one, and we went with this way. That was fine with me. Oh, look, I disabled it, but I didn't really need to. Cool. All right, there's our cool class. Nice. So then going back to here, I'll just create our telemetry environment, new browser telemetry environment. Get telemetry environment. Telemetry environment. Sweet. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this one. Okay. Cool. Nice. So this guy's returning telemetry environment. Cool. And that's cool too. It's like it gets to hide away some of the implementation details of all of that business in here. That's kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, it's good to simplify those like big sort of entry point files.
Yeah.
Because they're sometimes quite hard to test as well.
Yes, 100%. Okay. So I mean, everything's kind of compiling now, so I guess we're kind of okay. Except we are still doing our own setup telemetry browser here. So I'm actually gonna delete these because we're gonna, right? I'm just gonna let it delete and fail. So that should cause this to be upset because this doesn't exist. But that's okay because we don't need to do this actually because activate common does this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Right.
That's good.
Cool. And yeah, I think we're really close then on the other side. So I guess the other bit is just like we had our GitLab platform browser. I guess that's where we want to put the desktop telemetry environment. I'm getting really bothered that this is now like right next to the entry point browser thing. I really want to rename this. We can rename it real fast. It's pretty easy to rename things in the TypeScript. Because the language server should do it pretty nicely.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the better refactoring tools.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to call this GitLab telemetry environment browser.
Not GitLab browser telemetry environment.
I like that as well. I sometimes I feel like being English with it and putting the adjectives beforehand, and then other times I'm like, I think I can understand adding
Yeah.
adjectives at the end. Because I feel like it's sometimes it's cool to like you have your base and then you just keep like
Yeah,
your
it's kind of like least specific to most specific.
right. But
Isn't it like yeah, doesn't it come from like C# or something?
probably okay, I went ahead and renamed the file to match our new very long terse name, but I'm not terse, the opposite of that verbose name. Okay, cool. So now we just want to do this on the desktop, the similar one that's creating. So wherever we create our desktop platform. So I can get to there by checking out GitLab Platform Manager and looking at
Looking
references.
up. Yeah.
Oh, there's gonna be a whole bunch of usage references. Oh, there's gotta be a cool like go-to implementations.
Implementations.
Sweet. Oh my gosh. So
Nice.
look, it has these implementations in the tests it even caught. That's pretty cool.
Mm.
All right, this is the one. Okay,
So
cool.
it's now missing a function.
So
I
what
guess.
we want to do, I don't mind creating a new file here. Even though there's loads, I don't mind creating a new one. What do you think?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good.
GitLab telemetry environment desktop. Yeah. And then we'll copy and paste what we got going over here. But let's find what is actually our, let me go ahead and kill other windows. What was our telemetry setup here? Setup telemetry desktop. Yeah. Okay. So the interesting thing here that we do is we have this like variable that we collect it from the environment and then we register this callback. In that callback, we then recheck, I guess is how this is implemented. That's pretty easy to implement in a class. So we'll actually probably have, I think, like a state of is telemetry enabled. I'll go ahead and empty these out. So Boolean. Why are you having a hard time? Do I need to go up one more, maybe? Okay. And I don't need to do this. Okay. And I guess we can initialize this based on something like that.
And then is that going to need like a listener or something to stay
yeah.
up to date?
So I guess we then use this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, nice.
It returns a disposable thing that if we were good citizens, we take care of this. What do you think?
I haven't encountered disposable before, so from the name, yeah, it sounds like we should call it dispose or whatever it exposes.
Yeah.
A returns a
So there's actually what we want then is we want this to implement VSCode disposable. And let me, and it's not going to be happy about it. Oh, but wait. Oh, wait. There's a better way to do this. Oh, we could do it this way, but I just realized there's a better way to do this. Let me see where this thing gets referenced. I see. We just import this singleton. We don't even have like a factory for the singleton. But what I'm saying is like from this initialization place, this is where sometimes we like manage disposables in a smart way. I won't worry about it right now. This is bonus points. I mean, we'll still do this. We'll still do this thing. What's wrong with you? Oh, okay. But I'm gonna add a to do. Do we want to actually have something? Listen to this disposable. We should probably initialize this and the entry point. Cool. That's this thing. Then going back to here, we have a little singleton, which I guess I'll just lean into it. Get telemetry environment. Oh, but I don't need to create a new one for every time, right? I don't know if I want to do that. Oh no, do I still call this browser? Oh, and I switched the names. I did the wrong names. Oh, GitLab.
Oh yeah.
Desktop telemetry. I have a feeling though that we're gonna probably want to put the thing at the end because I'm realizing platform has.
I'm leaning that way as well.
All right, let's go ahead and do it then.
No.
We're not English. We're not we're computer scientists, not English majors.
I'm sure we have at least one English major computer scientist there.
Oh, we do. There's someone on. I remember having a coffee chat a long time ago. Someone who's like a linguist. But now they do like that would be really interesting. Like if you have been studying human languages and they come into coding languages, you're like, man, this stuff is so easy. What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, totally.
Cool. So now we can actually just get rid of, because now that this is working and we call it in the comment, we can get rid of our setup telemetry desktop.
Yep.
So that can get rid of. Yeah, and we're kind of at time, but let's see if we can let's see if we have any type failures. And then I'll leave some comments on I don't know. What do you think? Was this helpful or?
Yeah, super helpful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, even just for me, like seeing someone else working in this repo is like really useful. Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad. Let's yarn build desktop. Is building the web views, blew up. Didn't like TypeScript. Doesn't like something. Oh, we still have references to set up telemetry desktop. Oh, yes. Oh, geez, I didn't actually create this. Oh, yeah. This is a function that returns the thing. Oh, no, what am I doing? What did I do wrong? Wait, why are you upset? Oh, no, it's fine with that. Oh, all of the other things that are creating managers have these other managers.
Yeah,
How many other managers are there? Oh, there's just two. Okay. Yeah, types. It's not gonna like the types for the test. But I'll push this up. Let me ask you one more question before I push it up. Do you think we should put this on another branch as an MR to the branch, or do you think we should just push directly to the branch?
Was the other branch working? I mean, is the branch without these changes, was it working?
It was not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because it had it wasn't quite finished yet.
Hmm. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Push.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Refactor. Yeah. I'll commit
I
and I'll
I
push.
I like
And
it. I like it better with the interface like this.
I think it's
So
gonna be I
yeah.
think it's gonna be good, but I obviously though, and I think one key takeaway of the project is um we are want to be cognizant of, when we are introducing new abstractions, especially to something as core as platform, is like let's bring it up in the Slack channel, or
Hmm.
let's try to, okay, let's see, make sure we're all, on the same page with new abstractions here, because it can't get too.
Well, an alternative could be to push to another branch, have another MR, and just
Oh,
take a
I
look at
think
them
I think we're
both.
fine. I think we're fine since nothing's being merged. But I was talking about like
Hmm.
if I'm a maintainer on my own and a contributor is implementing something, but it's required kind of introducing something novel to something as base as
Hmm.
platform or account. That's the kind of thing is like I would want to not make that decision in isolation. Like I don't feel good making this decision in
Yep.
isolation. So, but since I'm not pushing to the main branch, is like, and it's all
Yep.
Gits, I'm fine pushing to the branch and seeing how people feel, you know,
Yep.
off of this MR. But unlike I think in the main GitLab project, the project is so huge and there's just so many contributors and so many maintainers. We generally don't like we don't and for one, it's also, a little more established. We're not like introducing new abstractions very
Mm.
often too. But in this case,
Yep.
because it's smaller and we are steadily working on refactorings, that might happen more often than not. So we try to stay transparent and collaborative in any way that
Yep.
makes sense. And using the Slack channel, I think, is the best way.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Tristan. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting this. This is good.
Yeah. All
So
right. We'll catch you later.
well, yeah, sounds good.
All
See
right.
ya.
See you. Bye.
Bye.